This is the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show. Dr. Meleeka has a background as a clinical psychologist, actress, director, model, and human rights activist. The Dr. Meleeka Clary Show will help move you towards bettering the quality of your life with positive psychology. So please welcome your host, Dr. Meleeka Clary.
Welcome, my friends, to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and TV Network, where we're coming live on the Bold TV Network. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Come on in, friends. I'm so glad that God gave me another day to be able to do this. And just give me another day to be able to say, hey, I'm here still. So I'm really proud of that. Today we have a wonderful guest. His name is Drew Marks, and he is a comedian. He has been in the comedian business over 25 years. I mean, he's acted and performed many theaters, many different states, and international. And, because my show is about mental illness, and it doesn't just label anyone. He has some challenges and testimonies to share with you and to tell you his stories as well. Because one thing I love for my show to be about is to help another person. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you're doing, what you're about. It's about you're a person. And I always tell people, you're a human being first. And I love that he has a story, something that you can grow from. So why don't you come in, my friends, as I welcome Drew Marks.
Hi,
Welcome,
everybody.
Drew. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, actually.
Oh,
I
good,
just
good,
got
good.
back. We met on a cruise. I work on those,
Yes.
so I just got back 2 nights ago. So I get to have a little less than a week home before I go out again.
Oh, okay. All right. And you know what? I'm so glad that you decide to do this and be my guest on the show because, I think you have extraordinary stories and just your personality and how you look at life. And I want to share that with people. But before I even do that, and because you are a person and I identify people as people, not just because you're a comedian and just because who are you? So here's the question I have for you and answer the way you feel. As I always ask people, I know your background, I know you've been a comedian, I know you've been everywhere, and you make people laugh because when I went to your show, that's all I did is laugh. So I appreciate that. But here's the question to me, or for you: who do you identify yourself as? Because I identify you as a comedian, but who do you identify yourself as?
Wow, that's an interesting question because there's a lot of comics that are, and entertainers in general. And if you're an entertainer, I think you know this, that they have the person that they kind of put out there
Yes.
as their performing life. But I don't think I necessarily have that. I don't think I've ever had that.
Mm-hmm.
That's so when someone asks me like, who am I? I don't think I'm any different than the person people see all the time. I don't have a front. So for me, I've always lived, maybe it's the way I was raised, whatever. It's like you have one shot at life.
Okay.
Make sure you enjoy it. So that's all I've ever known. That's all I've ever done. And I try and bring other people along to enjoy it as well. I
Okay.
mean, it may sound a little cheesy, but honestly, that's always been at the core of who I am for as
Okay.
long as I can remember.
Well, that's interesting that you said that. You always wanted to be a comedian?
No. Actually, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian
Really?
because one of the things I joke about is, I tend to say I like animals more than people.
Really? Wow. And what changed? Like, I mean, what made you think that, hey, I'd rather be a comedian? And that's not an easy job or a career. And I don't
No,
I don't think it is, but we'll get into that. But how did you just said, hey, I'm gonna be a comedian?
I think it was a combination of two things. One, I realized that especially when it came to animals, I take it too much to heart. So as much as I would love to be able to save them, I cannot handle the loss part. Like it would hurt me too much every time it's the end. So I could not do that on a regular basis. I couldn't make that separation.
Yes.
So that would be my reason for not being able to do that. Now, as far as being a comic, it's very
Yeah.
funny because every comic would tell you the same thing. It's like when you start, there
Hmm.
is, you're not good because comedy is
Hmm.
not like a lot of other professions where you can study, like you go to school and then
Yeah.
you're ready to do it.
Yes.
It's 100% trial by fire. Like there is no preparing for it. You just get up there, you do it. You're not good at it. And then you have to answer the question, okay, are you willing to weather the storm and keep doing this thing that you're not good at until you are good? So
Wow, that's
when I
interesting.
first did it,
Hmm.
I remember the first time my best friend went with me to the club, and it was this little place in San Francisco called the Holy City Zoo. There were maybe 8 people in the audience.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
got up, and at that time in the early days, I used a guitar because you're trying to find yourself. I got no laughs. We're walking out. My best friend puts his arm over my shoulder, and I'm thinking he's going to say something kind and
Hmm.
supportive, and he just,
Yes.
"You're not going to do this again, are you?" I was like, I don't think I am. No, I was like, that one time was going to be enough.
Yeah.
But then I have this part of my personality where I can walk away from something like I without a problem,
You
but
know what?
only
Before you finish that, I really want to hear that because that's some people, that's challenges too. Before you do, we're going to take a brief commercial
no
and we
problem.
will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary show with Drew Marks, the comedian. Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere, folks.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back, friends, to the Dr. Meleeka Clary show on the Bold and Brave TV network. We are still with my amazing guest, Drew Marks, and he was just explaining a little bit about the comedian, and why he ended up being a comedian. Go ahead, Mark.
So
Drew.
after I
I
had this
like these two
horrible
nicknames.
experience, you,
Go ahead.
that horrible first time on stage, like I say, I can walk away from things pretty easily. I don't have an addictive personality. But I can only walk away once I've actually proven to myself I can do it. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Then generally, if it's something, it's like, I don't care if it's a job, relationship, whatever. I'm like, I can go. But it really bothered me that I got up and did something and was bad at it.
Wow.
So there was that little voice in my head going, you can't just walk away when you're terrible. You know,
Hmm.
but I
Wow,
didn't
that's
honestly,
interesting.
yeah. When you're a comic, the hardest part in the beginning is finding your voice, so that it's authentic to you.
Yes.
Because an audience can tell if you're just kind of making things up and it's not real for you. So I didn't have my voice. I didn't know what was going to be funny. It's funny, on this last cruise, someone asked me, like, what's the worst show you've ever had? And that is very easy for me to identify. I had
Okay.
moved to the Bay Area in the late 80s, and it
Uh-huh.
was like I had that one horrible show, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to try this again. And don't ask me why I thought this would be funny, because I honestly have absolutely no idea. But it was
Hmm.
1987, and I thought that if I got up on stage and tried to throw a raw egg up in the air and catch it in my mouth, that it would make people laugh.
Oh.
Again, don't ask me why I thought this was funny. I have no clue, but I did. So I thought if I caught it, it would be impressive. And if it broke on my face, people would laugh. But I didn't consider a third option. So I walk up on stage. I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll. And they do it on their little tables. I throw
Oh
the
my
egg up and
God.
it hit my lip and split it wide open, and blood shot out onto the
Oh
people in
my
the audience.
goodness. Are you serious?
Absolutely, 100%. And the last thing people in San Francisco in the late 80s, at the height of the AIDS scare, wanted was a
Yeah.
stranger's blood to shoot out onto them.
Hmm. Oh my goodness. That is
My
like,
show lasted 40 seconds because I was bleeding so much. I was like, oh, this is bad. I should go. And that was it. And that club never let me perform there again.
oh my goodness. Wow. You know what's interesting? That's a little whoa.
It's crazy.
But yeah, it's kind of there. But you know what was interesting about your story and that is that, you know, you didn't have a good experience at the beginning and you still decided to be a comedian. Like, I mean, you still was like, okay, I'm gonna do this again. Like a lot of people that could hurt a person's ego.
Absolutely. And you just
How
give
did
up because
you
you're like, I can't have that bad feeling again.
So how did you even like say talk to yourself into it? Because I think I could talk myself out of it more than I could talk myself into it to do that.
I,
Because you got to be make
I,
people laugh. It's not like you're
yeah,
going up there and doing taxes. Hey, I just I did a bad batch. I redo it. No, you got to make thousands of people or whatever laugh.
I've always had this part of me inside where it's like, I believe I can do anything. Like, there's nothing I
Yes.
can't accomplish if I really want to. But that was the first time it ever really got put to the test. Like, I had never failed so spectacularly at anything on, like, as I did on that level, trying stand up.
Yes. Yes.
And it was so I think for me, the feeling of failure and having something that, is there really something that I completely cannot do, even if I want to? I think that negative feeling for me was much worse than the getting on stage and bombing.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting. Wow, that is very
Because
interesting. Let me
I don't think I could
Mhm.
have lived with that feeling.
Yes. Well, hey, everybody has something and a reason why they get back up. And that's
Yeah.
really amazing that you have that. Well, let me ask you, what is your belief system? Because I'm Christian and some people are not, and some people believe in higher power. And, if that happened to me and I really pursue being a comedian, I would have to pray about it for coverage. That's how I would feel.
Mhm.
Like I would need some type of coverage. How did you what was it anything that you were seeking more than a human flesh? I mean,
Well, okay, so I'm not a believer, right? I fall more into the either agnostic or atheist category. Like, it's not something that's a part of my world or my life. If it's for other people, great. I'm a firm believer in whatever makes, whatever fires your rocket, have at it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I've always had that force inside me where I think given any option, like when you think, am I going to do something or not do it? I
Yes.
would rather take the chance of living with the regret of having done something than the wondering what if, like what if I hadn't done it?
Okay.
Because then I don't know what the outcome was. So I'd rather do it and either benefit from it or regret it later. Because then at
Mm-hmm.
least I know. Like I'm that guy who, if the doors close, it's like I don't know if it's safe to be on the other side, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yes. So, okay. So basically, you take a rational point. Like, I'm
Yes,
just, and when you think about it, when you look at it, like, okay, I might as well try it because I don't want to regret later on that I didn't try it because that does
because you don't
happen.
know. Right.
Yes. Now, as you said you wanted to be a veterinarian, did you ever have that regret?
No, because I have gone out of my way my entire life. Like if I see a little baby animal on the side of the road, I will rescue it and take it home. I have traveled around the world and gone and hung out with exotic animals in every place. So I am never without my contact with animals.
Oh, that is wonderful. I love that. Well, on that note, we are going to take a brief commercial. So stay tuned. We will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network with Drew, the comedian. Don't go nowhere, folks. Don't go nowhere.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back, my friends, to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. We are still with my guest, Drew, the comedian.
Hey
Drew,
guys.
let me, I know, huh? Let me ask you a question. I always have to ask people because you are a comedian, but what challenges have you ever had that was like, I was down on my luck and I didn't know what I was going to do? Because, my show is based on mental illness, but it's also based on real. You're a realist, you're a human being. And so you go through things. And if somebody else is watching and they are a comedian, they may not look at their situation as a positive, but knowing that somebody else may have been through something similar or just been through it and they're in the same type of industry, how would you, what kind of challenge have you ever experienced that you had to get back in and put your big pants on and say, hey, I got to get this? Right.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, we're not immune. I mean, I've had certainly my share. I think the first major one that I ever really had, there was a girl that I met while I was on the road up in the Seattle area, and I was living in the Bay Area at the time. Fell in love. She didn't want to just be another girl in a city that I performed in. I was like, no, this is the real thing. I will move up to Seattle and we'll get an apartment together and we'll start a life together.
Mm-hmm.
I gave up my home in LA.
Wow.
I booked 6 weeks of work around the Seattle area. So that was going to be, like keep me around there so we could like get everything settled and started. Put everything I owned in my car, drove 15 hours without stopping. And I had gotten her a job working at the Improv in Seattle because she could make more money.
Mm-hmm.
When I arrived in Seattle, I went to see her and it was her birthday, and I had flowers and a gold watch I had gotten her for her birthday. I got the "we need to talk" thing,
Oh,
and I found out we were no longer together
oh, wow.
out of the blue. Like she had just changed her mind. And I'm sitting
Mm.
there going, I don't have a place to live right now. Like I wasn't broke. I had a little bit of money in a bank account, but it's not like I was a wealthy comic or anything. And I'm like,
Yes,
I,
yes.
I don't have a home. I don't know what to do. Now,
Um,
what was crazy was I had nowhere to go, so I walked around Seattle in the rain crying for like 2 hours. I'm like, all right, I need to figure out my life because this is weird. I called a comic friend of mine who said, look, I'm not in Seattle, but I have a roommate. Go to my place. You can stay there, well, for
okay.
the couple of weeks. So you're not living in your car. And I'm like, okay, cool. I did that. But now a week later, I had to work at the Improv where I had gotten her a job. And I
Mm-hmm.
walked out on stage in front of several hundred people, and she was sitting in the front row with another guy. And I
Okay.
I just I lost it. And I lost it in front of the entire people, and I just started talking to her, and it was a very ugly scene.
Oh, wow.
And I said I said things that I'm not happy about. Uh, like they were just mean.
Yeah.
But it happened, and when I realized after all this happened, she gets up and runs out crying. It was a very major scene. And now
Oh,
I
wow.
look and I'm like, there's a couple hundred people staring at me with their mouths just open. And
Yeah,
I said,
yes, I can imagine you was hurting too.
I was hurting,
And
but they were like, that was not part of the show. That was real. And I was like, okay, I owe you folks an
wow.
explanation. So I explained everything that happened up to that point, the breakup, and I just started riffing on what happened. Next thing you know, I'm having a great show. Like it is killer show. And I had
Oh
people
my.
coming up afterwards, like giving me hugs, going, look, if you need a place to stay, you can come live at my house. I mean, it was just, and that's the kind of thing when you really connect with audiences, it's one of the reasons, you do what I do. It is, I always say it's like the best and worst thing that will happen to you as a comic is the first time you really kill an audience, like when
Yeah.
you really destroy and have an amazing show. It is the best and worst thing that'll ever happen, and it's for the exact same reason. It's because nothing feels that good. Not drugs, not sex, not anything. It is an unbelievable feeling. And once you get it, it's like a drug, and you chase it because nothing will feel as good. So you have to keep getting on stage because you want that feeling again.
Yeah. Well, see, you found that happiness, that joyful feeling with what you're
Yes.
doing. And what's interesting about your challenge, your testimony, is that most people they will call that a nervous breakdown that you're
Yeah, but
having,
mine
you're
was very temporary.
experiencing. Yeah.
I'm not one that's prone to depression or anything, or at least I
Hmm.
never have been. Um, so it was very hard for me to deal with it because I had never had those feelings before where it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life
Yeah.
now because honestly, I didn't really want to do stand up at that moment because I'm like,
Yes.
I am very not happy. But then when I got on stage and I realized that was the one thing that was going to save me from those bad feelings.
Yes.
And I became a better comic because of it, because
Wow.
that was my outlet for the pain. And
Wow.
the genuine love you feel from the audience was like,
Yes.
okay, I have that as my thing to keep me going. And then you realize you have a support network of friends. Like I had friends, but I called my friend back in the Bay Area and I told him what happened. He goes, okay, look, I'm on it. By the time you get back here, I'll have a place for you to live.
There you
I'll find
go.
you a place. And I was like,
Yes.
okay. Everybody kind of came together. So I had
That
that
is
support network.
amazing. That was good. I'm glad you had that support network, I wanted to say. With that
Yeah.
being said, oh my goodness, that was really amazing. Thank you for sharing that. We are going to take a brief commercial and we will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Don't go nowhere, friends. Don't go nowhere.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back, my friends, to the Dr. Meleeka Clary show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Welcome back, my friends. We are still with my amazing guest, Drew.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing your story and challenges. You know what, Drew? I always have to ask people this. You know, what for a comedian that wants to get into the industry that you are in, what kind of advice would you give them? Because you did go through some challenges and ups and downs, and I'm sure it was really a challenge to keep going. And what do you had to tell yourself to do? If someone was out there saying, "I want to do what he does," I mean, how what would you basically tell them if they wanted to start doing something as being a comedian? Some good helpful tips.
Okay, so it's a little different than when I started. Like when I started, you had open mics, and comedy clubs would have them, bars, some coffee shops, but they were all over the place. Like, so you could literally get up and do sets 2 or 3 times a night. You would just go to one place, perform, and go to another. Now, they were terrible audiences in most
Mm-hmm.
cases, but every comic understood that's what you had to do. And you built a sort of camaraderie because wherever you lived, you would see a lot of the same guys. So like you
Yes.
could go to one, and so you had the emotional support network of the
Yeah.
people suffering to the exact same thing you were doing. And so there was a certain joy in it. Now,
Yes.
if you want to start out, it's a little different now. There are still those places. Now they have places that are more, they call them bringer rooms, where if you bring a certain amount of guests, they'll give you stage time. I
Mhm.
don't like those places. That's a personal thing. I think that that's counterproductive. A comic shouldn't have to bring the audience. That's the booker
Okay.
or the room's job. Your job is
Mhm.
just to come and be funny. But you do whatever it is. The reason you do comedy is because you love it. It's inside you. It gives you great pleasure. And never forget that's the reason. Now, there's a whole new thing. Are you familiar with the Oculus Quest 2?
Yes, a little bit because I have a 14-year-old, so I'm a little
Okay,
bit.
it's a virtual reality headset. Now, they're
Yes.
they're not super expensive, but they're not cheap either. They're probably about
No, we do have them.
$400,
Yes, it is.
right? But here's the thing. There's virtual reality comedy clubs. And it's just like a real
Really?
club, but it's better than going to an open mic because you'll have 40, 50 people in the audience from all over the
Wow.
world. And so when I had to do open mic nights, I would be driving all over. Sometimes, it's like you had to buy a drink to perform, whatever, and you had to go and park and do all that. Now, a person starting in comedy, you're still going to have to go out and perform in front of live audiences, but you could
Yes.
practice sitting in your own home. That's something I never had an option to do.
Wow.
So you could sit in your chair and perform for actual real people and get better at writing your jokes so that now when you
Hmm.
go out, you're far more prepared. So even if, make that investment in the thing because you're going to save gas and everything else and having to go out. And you can perform several nights a week, all from the comfort of
That's
your own home.
That's really cool. And because,
It is
that
very
makes
cool.
sense that you could try that out, and especially if you have younger individuals that want to do something like be a comedian. Because I know,
Absolutely.
yeah, my son always be trying to make me laugh and do things. And I say, you might want to be a comedian. I always tell him that. And because he's so funny he likes to compare different things. And I'm like, wow, you have a really knack for that. So that's really interesting. I think I might mention that to him on something.
Yeah, I can show them exactly how to do it. And the thing
Yeah.
is, you can do it without that risk because, listen, the number one phobia that people have. I don't have it.
Yes.
It's not one of mine. It's not snakes. It's not spiders. It's getting up and talking in front of people.
Stage fright. Yes.
Yes. So here, you you don't have to have that because you create an avatar and then you stand up on this virtual reality comedy stage and you see the other people's avatars. And so you get comfortable doing this talking thing. And if it doesn't go well, you don't have that gut punch that
Hmm.
people can get. It's like because comedy is very personal. You do feel if the audience doesn't like your show, they don't like you. You know what I mean? It is a
Hmm.
personal thing because you're the only one up there. It's not like,
Yes.
oh, they just like the jokes. No, it's a personal feeling. But the other side of it is when they love you, and you have that sense, and it's an amazing thing.
Now, is that like when you're on the internet too? So is it real people that's
Yes.
actually listening to you? Whoa, really?
And I'm talking to them the same way I'm talking to you now. It's just instead of seeing the real you, you create this animated avatar. You can make it look like whatever you want.
Wow. I did not
Um,
know that.
Like, yeah, so you're interacting and talking. If I point at you, I'll see your name and where you're from. I'm like, oh, here's Dr. Meleeka. How are you doing? And you're in the audience, like, oh, I'm doing good. How about you? And what's your name? What you do for a living? And so, yeah, it's just like being in a real club.
Wow, that is amazing. I did not know that. I'm sure going to share that information. That's cool actually, because
It's
like you said,
very
there's
cool. And
people have
it really
stage
is
fright.
a great way to practice because it's not a bring a room. You don't have to bring audience members before you're ready because as a comic, you really don't want your friends or family to see you before you're ready. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
if you don't have a good show, like I forbid my mom from coming to a show for a long time when I started. Because let's say I had a bad show, I could deal with it. That's the first thing you have to learn as a comic is if you don't have a good set, you have to be able to get over it and get on to the next one. But if I
Yes.
did badly in front of my mom, I would feel terrible,
Wow.
you know? So like I think that was the show I was more scared of than anyone the first time I let my parents come to a show.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's interesting. I love it. I'm going to stop at that note and take a brief commercial. We will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network, guys. Do not go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. Come back.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Thank you, guys. Welcome back. I'm still with the nice comedian, Drew. I mean, he's been sharing all his stories and testimonies and strength and determination. And, and I really am amazed at stories that you have said and things that you've been through. It really gives me a different outlook of how, if something happened in my life and you just got to try to grip it, but also just with people understanding certain things that you've been through at that moment and not judge you because you're human. And that's what's so important. You're human. You're a human being. With that being said, what is some self-care things that you do for yourself? Because I get up and I might, go pray or read a book or, worship or, exercise. What kind of self-care things that you do you get ready for your day?
It's funny, the exercise is a big thing for me.
Okay.
Um, Now, part of it is I've learned to embrace my own shallowness. Like I'm not one of those people that loves working out. I don't. I actually don't like it. But the only thing I hate more than working out is how I look if I don't do it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And now,
Okay.
like, it's funny because I've been doing comedy. Actually, I figured out it's like almost 30 years now. And
Yes.
right now,
Wow.
I'm at a better place in comedy. I'm having more success than I did at any point during that whole 30-year career. Now that I'm working on these cruise lines and stuff, I'm having the time of my life. And
Wow.
there was a time I walked away from comedy for a while, but then I realized I really missed it and I came back, and it was through my best friend who's a comic who's more famous than I am, and he got me in on the cruise line. So it's like I'm doing better now than I ever have. And it's amazing if you just wait it out. Life is about phases, in time.
Yes.
So just because you're having a dark time, it doesn't mean it can't get better later. You just gotta
That's
sometimes
right.
wait it out and keep working at it.
That's right. Today is different day than tomorrow. So what
Right.
happened today doesn't mean tomorrow's going to be the same, and you have to walk into that day like that. Cuz some people don't. They keep what they did yesterday and it didn't go that well and they bring it into the next day, which you should change your mindset and thinking positive that this day will be different. And that's
Yeah.
one thing that I try to follow. What happened yesterday, let it go. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Exactly. Well, you know that old saying, it's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and
Over and
over
over and over and getting the
and
same
expecting a
results.
different result. It's like
Yes, absolutely.
change things. I also do this thing. It may sound silly, but I truly believe this. I think I look at my mind and like, the way you think as just like, that glass, that cup. It's going to fill up with something. So you're
That's
either going to
right.
fill it with negative thoughts or positive thoughts.
They
So all day
exactly.
long, I try and think of like, okay, what did I do what was positive in my life or my world today? And it
That's
doesn't have to
right.
be big things. I mean, it can be the littlest thing. Like I took my dog for a walk. I went to the gym. I
That's
made
right.
the bed. You know what I
There
mean?
you go. Making a bed. That's a good thing for me. I like making the bed because that's a fresh start. I have to say it that
Right.
way because some people just get up, and I feel like when you make up your bed, you are starting a new day.
Yeah, yeah,
You're just
yeah.
giving that opening for yourself. But when you go back to the same shuffled up bed, you're like, there's no, I don't know, you just go back in the same mood to me. I'm gonna dive right back in the same day I had. I mean, it just
Right.
doesn't do it for me.
And everyone has their little things. Like me, I can't sleep if there's dishes in the sink. I just
Oh my
can't.
goodness, you're
It's
listening to my
it.
thoughts. I hate that. I have to have the dishes, nothing in the dishes, nothing in the dish sink,
Nothing in the
nothing.
sink, or I'm not going to bed. It's not but
Mm-mm.
it's because I have to be when I walk into the room. Like whether it's that the bed is made or there's no dishes in the sink, it's like, all right, I can work in this environment. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
if it's dirty or it's cluttered, it's like that feng shui thing. I have to,
Yes.
I
Mm-hmm.
operate better. And so when you have those little positive thoughts, like I have a friend, I try and help her. It's like she's just never really happy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're looking too much for to the big things. It's like
There you go.
little thoughts, and I will keep repeating that same little thought. If I'd only have 3 or 4 little good things in the day, I'll keep repeating those because you're pushing out the bad thoughts,
That's right.
you know.
That's right.
And it's like, all right. And if you feel a little better, and I think that's sort of like if you work out, if you just go to the gym one day, you're not going to see the results. You may get a little sore, you feel okay, but the more you do it, now your body starts reacting and it becomes more of a way of living and doing it.
And
So
you're doing
thoughts are the
something.
same
Yeah.
way. If you condition yourself to try and think of a more positive thought, but you
Exactly.
literally have to make yourself think of all little positive things. I
You know,
vacuumed. That goes on
mhm.
the positive list. You know what I mean?
That's
Whatever it
right.
may be. But do that. I ran an errand. It doesn't have to be a major thing. Just put it in that bank.
That's right. And I'm glad you said that because, these are things that should make you feel good. Doing something for yourself is always a good thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I mean, and I know some people might think, oh, if you don't want this, you don't like this, or you're always exact. It's not OCD. We're not doing anything like that. It's just fresh starts. That's, I
Yes.
have to be clear. It's a fresh start. It's like going to bed and knowing that you have a bunch of clothes on the floor. Like put them in a hamper. I mean, it's
And
just,
again,
if you live in
yeah,
junk, you're not going to feel great. I don't think people understand if you go ahead and clutter your house up, what make you think you're going to feel good about that? You're going to
right.
feel eventually you're going to be grumpy. I have to go back to the same place that looks like a junk pile of junk, but you are the doer. You can change that. you can
Right.
change your situation, and that's what's so interesting. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because people need to know fresh start starts in the morning too. And
Yeah.
with that note, we are going to take a brief commercial, and we will be right back with Drew the comedian. Thank you guys, and come right back. Don't go nowhere. Go nowhere.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery, or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Thank you for joining me, my friends. We are still with Drew, the comedian. You know, I'm so blessed, and thank you very much for being on my show and, you know, sharing your testimony, sharing your challenges, and just showing that you are a human being. And just because you are famous to a point that what you're doing, you're developing your career, that you are still a human being and you still go through different things, but you're sharing ways to be able to think positive, but also try to help people get out of their situation, because you never know. There might be somebody listening right now and they feel the same, just like you, and you probably helped them. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all of your testimonies. Now, if people want to see you, what is your contact information? What are you doing? Where are you? Because you have shows, and I know I met you on the cruise ship, and it was an interesting moment for me at that moment. But I know about the cruise, it was great, and your show was awesome. So just enlighten me on some information that they could find you.
They can always find me online. On Facebook is always a good one. It's my name, Drew Marks, DREWMARKS. And they can click a link and see my show in Vegas at the Laugh Factory if they want. I'm not great with social media. I'll be the first to admit it, but I'm also on Instagram, where you can either find me by my name, or my nickname has always been Drucifer, like DRUCIFER. So I think it's Drucifer XX on
Okay.
Instagram. The only reason it says Drucifer XX is someone else had Drucifer.
Oh, wow.
And that was always my nickname, Little Devil, Drew, and Lucifer kind of thing, just in a playful way. But that's always fun. But yeah, that's kind of the best way. And I don't, people can always add me and see where I'm performing. On Carnival Cruise Lines all
Okay,
the time.
Carnival. Okay, so you're always on Carnival. And are
Right
you
now,
there
yeah.
like every 3 weeks, every 2 weeks? So if somebody
Every
was
other
trying
week,
to
pretty
follow your
much.
schedule.
My dog is old, so I won't leave her more than 2 weeks a month,
Okay.
because she's older and she has some health issues. So I'll be home for a week, and then I'll go out and do a cruise for a week, and then I'll be home. So, you can always find me on Facebook, and I'll post where I'm going to be. But yeah, Carnival Cruise Lines is the only cruise line I work for right now, but they keep me very busy and they're awesome. It's fun. I
Oh,
get to
that's
meet tremendous people like you. We had
well,
so much fun
thank
hanging
you.
out there. And the audiences
Thank
on the
you.
ships. I mean, I'm performing for standing room only. This last ship I was just on out of Texas, they were phenomenal. The last night, standing ovation for my last adult show. And it
Oh,
was like, that was just so sweet. And it's like, again, you that means everything to me. Not just the standing ovation, but just,
but
the
yeah,
love that I
it's
get from the
great.
people. And yeah, it
You love what you do.
it keeps
That's
me
great.
going.
And well, thank you so much for being my guest. And you are such a funny person. So I would like to explain to everybody, if you ever want to come out, please go set up a cruise because he is very funny, very real. And I had an awesome time. I've seen his show a couple of times. I just had to get in touch with this famous comedian here. I mean, he just so funny. Made my day really, highlight my short time on that cruise. He did highlight that time. So thank you
Thank
again,
you.
Drew. So
And you
let me
do a
tell you.
great
So
show here.
now,
You're doing a great service.
oh,
Thank
thank
you
you
for
so
having me
much.
on.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. And if you're looking for me, you can follow Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, or drmeleekaclary.com on my website, or you could just Google me, or I'm on the IMDb, or you can follow the page Three Corners of Deception 2 as the movie. But thank you so much for joining me. And thank you for joining me again for just another day to enjoy. And if nobody said I love you today, I'm going to say it. I love you and have a wonderful day. God bless. And a weekend to come.
You've been watching the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show. Tune in next week as Dr. Meleeka will help you shift towards a better life. But this show doesn't stop there. She'll provide helpful tips regarding surviving the entertainment industry and the judicial system with practical information. Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, here on the Bold Brave TV network.